Hello everyone, my name is Lenka, on the Instagram Chica, which means Czech girl, and I am a awardee of Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. And in today's video, I would like to share with you my tips, which I included in my personal statement or motivation letter, depends how you call it. And I would like to share with you my tips in order to you get the scholarship and you're accepted for Erasmus Mundus. I applied for 3 programs and I got scholarship, so I can promise you that my tips are verified and will definitely help you in your application. Now, maybe you're asking, for those of you who are new, what is Erasmus Mundus? Erasmus Mundus is joint master degree program which takes usually part in Europe. There's consortium of many partnership universities, so basically each semester you study somewhere else. There are no age restrictions, no countries restrictions, which means every single country can apply, and also you don't need to have a perfect grades. Also, you can apply even if you haven't studied for a couple of years. The only restriction is that you have not completed your master degree. But more information are summed in this video, so check it out if you want to know more. And in today's video, I will help you with one of the requirements in your application, which is motivation letter. Erasmus Mundus programs also offer scholarship, which basically cover 2 years of your life. They cover insurance, they cover travel costs, they cover your tuition fees of your university, and they also give you monthly allowance to sustain your accommodation and your food. So you can completely focus on the studies. In my eyes, it's the best master degree program I have ever discovered for those of you who like to travel and want to study at good universities. If you know better program than this, link it please below in the comments. And please watch till the end because I have something super cool for you. So make sure you watch this video till the end because then there is a small present for you. So, maybe you are asking what program can you study? Also, I will link it below this video, but basically any program based on your experience or your interest, you are allowed to study. The application process starts in October and it lasts till January for Erasmus Mundus scholarships and till March or April for self-funded students. The process might be a little bit overwhelming because there are many documents required, but believe me, it's all worth it. Make sure that you are applying just for 3 programs because you can apply only to 3 programs in one application period and you can accept only one. If you want to know more about the application process, I also created a video with 9 easy steps to follow, which will cover all the admission process. But now let's go to motivation letter. Firstly, I would like to describe what you usually need for your admission process. Usually you are required to submit the language proficiency test like IELTS or Cambridge, usually like C1 level. Further, you need to submit a letter of recommendation from your professors or from your boss if you worked. Also, you need to provide transcript of records of your grades, and then you have to submit the application form and you have to send your passport or ID, and this is pretty much. Of course, you have to do the motivation letter. I know this might require time, energy, and sometimes even money, but as I mentioned, it will all worth it because you will be exposed to many different countries, colleagues from different backgrounds, different education approaches. You will live the dream basically. Even if especially if you are not European, you will have the opportunity to live in Europe, discover many different countries, and I just love it. And I still cannot believe I am part of this amazing program. So why I must write motivation letter? Well, it's a crucial part of the admission process, and it's so crucial that some consortiums, some universities put 40% of value to just motivation letter, which means if you don't have a best grades, that doesn't matter as much as having a perfect motivation letter. It's basically space where you can sell yourself, you can describe what you have learned, what your experience is, but don't just copy what you already mentioned in the CV, because the CV is pretty informative, but this is the space and place where you can describe more, you can a little bit show your personality, and it's just very important. If I would tell you, there is only one document which you have to really pay attention to, it's definitely motivation letter. So, how do we start with motivation letter? First and foremost, I suggest you to pick the programs. I guess you already have the programs, and bear in mind that if you want to apply for 3 programs, you will have to write it 3 times. You can use some of the phrases, but you have to tailor it to specific program. This is very important. Rather apply for 2 and do the application very precisely than applying to all of 3 and not doing it well. But what I want to suggest and what I want to tell is go to the website of the consortium of the program and research what universities are included. If there are more universities, try to pick already the ones you would like to go. You can change it later, you can even change it during your studies, but it's important to show that you already know what you want to study, what you want to do in your career, and it will show that you're more focused. So try to get the information and the broader picture of the program, because bear in mind that the motivation letter you're addressing to the consortium. You're not addressing it to one single person, not even one single institution, university, but to this consortium, because they all will evaluate your application. So once you have researched on those universities and this program, you know who you will be talking to. Now, I think it's a good idea to take your pen and paper and write everything. This is called brainstorming, and really just write down everything what comes to your mind, everything what you have done in the past, what you consider important. I suggest to think about your past, then about your present, and then about your future. So like this line, and try to always relate it to the program, to the subjects, to the information you've already read about the program. Write really everything. I'm the person who write everything what comes to my mind, and then later on I come to this paper and I'm trying to delete all unnecessary informations. In this case, in motivation letter, less is more, so really try to narrow it down as much as possible. Once you have put on the paper all this information and all those ideas, before we actually start writing and creating the motivation letter, I suggest you to create some time schedule. To me, the whole application to all 3 universities took more than 2 months, and sometimes it seems very time consuming, but therefore we want to create the schedule. So set your deadlines. Say that in 2 weeks you would like to finish first draft, and in 1 month you want to send it for proofreading, and in 2 months you want to submit it. Now, it doesn't really matter if you submit the application in December or in early January, as soon as you still stick to the final deadlines of the program. Some of them might require you to send it by the end of January, some of them mid-January, so make sure you know all those deadlines and try to have it done as soon as possible so you won't stress, but also don't rush it. So now we are finally coming to this motivation letter, and I love quote from Winston Churchill, who initially talked about speech, how should good speech look like. I will say it about motivation letter. Motivation letter should be like a woman's skirt, long enough to cover the object, but short enough to raise the interest. And I think motivation letter should be exactly like that. So I created 10 points, what you should include in your motivation letter. Some of you might include all those things in one paragraph, some of you might put it in 2 paragraphs. I just try to make it a little bit easier and put it into 10 points, but you don't have to necessarily stick to all of them. After you're brainstorming, always keep in mind the line I told you, past, present, and future. And what you should start with, it's first and foremost writing a courtesy of greetings, dear sir or madam, and then starting to elaborate on your previous past experience. Here you can mention your bachelor studies or work experience or volunteering experience, and be very precise in what this experience has taught you. So don't just write, I worked there, because the consortium, they already see it in your application. Try to specify what have you learned, what this skill mean to you, how are you better now through this experience, through this position, through these studies. If you have some failures, you can also include them. There are nothing bad about failures, but again, try to turn it into positive side and say what you have learned. I think this is a good idea because it will show that you have evolved, and as long as you're moving forward, then it's great. You can also mention if you were a member in some organizations and some unions, if you have done some volunteering, what have you observed, what have you learned. So you can talk about the actual knowledge on the soft skills, and you can also, and I suggest, put some concrete example. But again, try to bring something extra above your CV, because the motivation letter you should keep it as short as possible, and try to avoid, therefore, just repeating the information, what you already have in your CV. The second thing, what you should include in your motivation letter is answering a question, why do you think you're suited to be part of such an ambitious program? So this will pretty much elaborate on your experience, but now you will relate it specifically to the program. So you will connect the experience with the position of the university, and you will link them together. Third thing, which is very important, and it's like basically selling yourself. It's why do you think you can be beneficial, what you can bring to the university, to your colleagues, to the whole environment, to professors. It's like pitching yourself. It's like if you go for interview and you say, I'm good at this, and I can help you with this. Because at the end, you want to study at the university, but they also want to have a good students. They want to have talented, intelligent, hardworking students who will help them to raise their ranking, who will do some research, who will make some interesting projects, and then maybe eventually who will become professors at these universities. So don't think this is just like one side interest that you want to study there and they don't want you. They want you, but you have to show them why they should want you. Fourth point, which you should not miss in your motivation letter, is your interest, your aspiration, your career interest in your future. So you will describe what you want to do after you're done with the university, or what you want to do during those 2 years, and also how this particular university should help you to fulfill those dreams. So now let's say the university has amazing research background, or has amazing professors, or has amazing network, which can help you further accomplish all those dreams. When you describe what you want to achieve in your career, what is your vision, try to go back to this program description and pick 1 or 2 subjects, maybe in second, third semester, and mention why they are important. This will again show that you put extra effort into researching about the program and that you know exactly what this program is about. Next point is, once you've mentioned the subjects, you can also mention what problems and what issues, what gaps your field has, maybe what you have noticed in your work or during your bachelor, and what you want to further research. This will lead to master thesis, and even if we want or we don't want, we have to finish our master program with a thesis. And in different fields. The thesis might look a little bit differently, but basically it's like the final product of the 2-year program. And therefore it's very nice if you have a rough idea about your thesis. Now again, it's not binding. You can change your mind, but it shows the consortium that you are very focused on why you want to be at the program. So try to come up at least with a rough idea about your master thesis and put the effort. And if you can find those information, so research on some professors which will be teaching your courses. Find their background, find their publications, find their experience, and write the specific name into the application. Again, it will show extreme interest in the university and the program, because you might argue that this professor is not available at any other university and his or her experience and knowledge is so valuable to you and to your field that you cannot get it anywhere else. This leads me to basically mentioning why this specific university, why this specific consortium are so unique. It's a little bit like if you're dating and you're saying, oh, I like your body and you're so funny and so on. Here, try to come up with the reasons why this partner universities are so unique. You can pick 1, 2, you can mention all of them. You can mention the ranking, the history, the facilities they offer. So try to flatter them, try to say positive things about those universities. You can also mention some extracurricular activities such as summer schools, such as some incubators, startup ideas, or union, or basically activities you would like to take part in during this program. Because at the end, university is not only, maybe majority of time, but not only, about writing papers and researching and working, but it's also about building a network. And some universities are very supportive in this matter. So try to also show your human side, your social side, and say, I would like to be part of this program and this activity, which will show your interest in socializing. And at the end, what should be part of your motivation letter if you're applying for the scholarship, which I really recommend. By the way, you can apply for scholarship and still study even if you don't get a scholarship. You can study as self-funded student. But at the end of your motivation letter, you should state why you are a good match to be given the financial aid and the scholarship. Now, don't say I need money because I'm broke, because I think everyone thinks that, and everyone thinks that I need money. And don't even write like I'm the best and I need it. Try to be a little bit original, but also try to maybe say your background, try to be authentic, and try to, again, turn all the negative sides into positive. I will give you my example. I am raised by a single woman, by a single mom, and she's 70. And I said, okay, she cannot anymore support me financially, and I haven't grown up in a wealthy family. However, despite this make me stronger, this make me more focused, and I have traveled to many countries before this program. I know what I want, and I believe this showed them that even despite the difficulties I had to face during my life, I am very focused, hardworking, and very likely be hardworking even during this master program. And last but not least, at the end of your motivation letter, you should say thank you for reading, considering my application, and then you put your name, surname, and your degree. You can also include some electronic signature if you have space. I didn't have the space, so I didn't put it there. Now, at the end, I've summarized what you should include in your motivation letter, at least what I have included and what brought me success. I also want to very shortly say how the motivation letter should look like, what should be the style. First and foremost, perfect English. Even though you don't have perfect English, yet, as I don't. I'm not a native speaker and I do a lot of grammar mistakes, even when I speak, even when I write. But try to write it as good as possible and then send it for proofreading. Maybe show it to your friend, show it to some previous students from the Erasmus Mundus, and then also send it to your professor or to send it to someone who is very knowledgeable and has amazing English skills. Because the motivation letter is not so long and you have to be very precise with every single word. I'm not perfectionist, I'm very far from being perfectionist. Actually, I'm very chaotic. But I was so precise about every single word, every single dot I have included in the paper. The paper should be about 1 page long. It depends what program you are applying to. Sometimes you will fill in a form, sometimes you will just really put motivation letter. Some programs call it personal statement, but it is all very similar. In most of the programs I know, they don't specify the font or the size of the font. So I used Calibri and I had little more text and I didn't want to put it on 2 sides. So I put like a font number 10 or 11. And also be precise with the paragraphs, with the lines, make it also like aesthetically beautiful. I don't want to be like, don't be so aesthetically like too creative. I created it just really in a word, even though I would love to use something like Canva, but it's still Erasmus. It's very like governmental thing. So make it as easy as possible, make it as short as possible, and be polite, but be confident. And I don't want to say that I was very funny in my paper, but I try to show and little bit discover also my personality. I always think of those people who will review my application and reading hundreds of such letters daily. So I wanted to be a little bit above and I wanted to be a little bit different. Now we're almost at the end and I promised you something at the beginning. And the thing is, I am releasing a free template for Erasmus Mundus motivation letter, completely for free. I will link it below. And this motivation letter is completely inspired by my own motivation letter. So there are also instructions on how to use this motivation letter. I hope this will help you. In this video, I tried to summarize what to include, how to write it, why to write it, and also you have this free template. So I really believe it won't be any problem. If you need some more personal advices, if you need some like individual sessions, don't hesitate to contact me. I will be happy to help you. And I'm very curious if you're applying this year or if you're already a student of Erasmus Mundus program or if you're already done. I'm very curious about this. So feel free to comment this video, feel free to share it with your friends, because those tips to personal motivation letter can be applied to anything, even if you're applying for a job or for internship. I verified this and I will definitely use the template I'm sharing with you guys. So I hope you liked this video and there are more coming. So see you soon.